So a few weeks ago, I was driving in my car. It was nighttime. I was coming back from some video work that I was doing for the comic shop, and somebody cut me off. I'm listening to music, I'm in the zone, and somebody cut me off. They were doing about, 80, 90 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. My first reaction, of course, being, fuck you, you motherfucker. Why the fuck are you speeding past me? Why the fuck are you going so fast? You're the reason why insurance rates are so high and why we have accidents at rush hour and everybody gets bogged down and can't get home on time. In one fell swoop, I made this one guy who was speeding responsible for every person who has ever sped, ever, and has ever caused an accident or caused traffic. I reduced it down to one guy in a very quick and orderly fashion because I felt I had been wronged. As is tradition in Maryland, a couple weeks after that incident, it did happen again. But this time I had a completely different reaction and a completely different perspective on the situation. And sometimes it is as simple as that. It's a change in perspective. It's someone saying, hey, if you look at it this way, it's something completely different. Now, I don't remember where I heard it, but somebody, through the course of that time frame between the first time and the second time, said something, or I watched something that made me look at that person who was potentially an asshole in a completely different way. See, it's easy to get angry. It's easy to fly off the handle, start cussing, want to throw stuff at them because they're being irrational. You're not being irrational. There's no way that you could be being irrational because you're a rational person. But the assumption that we all make is that that person that's speeding is just doing it because they're a jerk, because they want to get in front of everybody, because they are an adrenaline junkie and they want to get their kicks and they want to weave in and out of traffic and they want to be there first, whatever that means, as if their time is more important than yours. And then we limit ourselves by thinking that way because we're assuming that anyone that does that doesn't have good reason, shouldn't be doing it ever, and is just a terrible person. And then I started to think, are there scenarios in which I would find myself justified in speeding? And there are. I mean, honestly, there could probably be a million reasons. There could be an emergency at home. Somebody got hurt. One of your kids got hurt. You're on the way to pick someone up and there was an accident and now you're not going to get there in time and that person is getting a ride to a job and you've been actually helping them out with money and you really want them to get that job. There could be a medical emergency for yourself that you need to get home and take pills that you forgot to take, or maybe you just have to get home and take shit. And what I found when I started thinking about all of those things that could possibly cause this jerk to speed, that would be reasonable reasons to speed, instead of me going off on this tirade of curse words and anger, I kind of got curious about, well, I hope that everything is okay. I hope that they're okay. I hope that they're not rushing to something that's terrible. And I started thinking, how many other things could you apply that same style of thinking to in your life? How many times have you made an assumption about somebody's intention to do something or reasoning behind doing something and assume that they were trying to take advantage of you or trying to take advantage of the system or trying to take advantage of other people, or just being a jerk or just being rude or being mean? How many times have you seen somebody do something and immediately got angry because of them doing a thing, not knowing their intent? See, the human species does this really weird thing where we think that we can predict everything that's going on, and that because we've been there we automatically know how somebody's going to react and the reasoning behind the things that they're doing. But the honest truth is, we're pretty terrible at predicting a lot of things. We think we know how the world works and how people work and how I would react in the situation that that person is currently handling. But you've got to remember that you've lived your entire life as you, and they've lived their entire lives as themselves. And that's two completely different scenarios, even if you're from the same area, in the same income bracket, in the same race and religion, and went to the same schools. None of that matters, because only you living as you understand you. Now, I'm not advocating for people breaking the rules or breaking the law or speeding. I'm not saying that those things are okay even when you have a decent justification for it. But what I am saying is that the next time that somebody does something that you think makes them kind of look like a jerk, maybe instead of flying off the handle and getting angry and maybe even starting a confrontation with them, you just think there has to be a good reason why somebody would do this crappy thing that makes sense. It doesn't make it right, but it almost justifies it in a way that you can understand. If you were in the similar situation, how you would handle that. Like most of life's lessons, it comes down to perspective and empathy. So look at things as if they aren't always something that's trying to adversely affect you, and then look at it from a different perspective, from somebody else's point of view, so that you can understand why they made the choices that they did. Or they could just be an asshole.